Thank you so much, Secretariat and honorable members. Up to that point, I want to give it to our visitors to introduce themselves, starting with the team leader.
Thank you so much, the chair and honorable members. My name is Ochieng Bovins. I'm the Chief Officer in charge of Education, Technical Training, Innovation and Social Services. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Wilkista.
Good afternoon. My name is Pascalia Ouma, Director, Technical Training, Innovation and Social Services.
Good afternoon, members. My name is Pio Jaffe Thorwa, the Kisumu County Education Fund Accountant. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members. Daniel Okuta, County Quality Assurance and Standards Officer.
Good afternoon, Thaddeus Omolo, Deputy Director, ICD.
Good afternoon. My name is Amos Nyadie from the Director of Social Services.
Good afternoon. My name is Eunice Radiro, the Procurement Officer for the department.
My name is Oyugi Bella, the Departmental Accountant. Good afternoon. Akesh Jennifer is my name, Departmental Human Resource.
Thank you, everyone. And lastly, we have one of the members who has just arrived, but we are glad you are arriving when we are doing introduction, so introduce yourself.
Sami Onyango, member of committee, MC Relos Ward.
Thank you, honorable members. Chief Officer, could you please record the... Oh.
Sorry, Chair. I'm Frederick Ochieng, Adonijo Dari, representing Chemelil Tamu Ward, a friend of the committee.
Thank you, Adonija. And finally,
Pete Aiko, MCA Kabonyo Kanyagwa.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Pete. Chief, could you record the whereabouts of the CC in the Hansards?
Thank you so much, Chair. Received the apology of the CC member who was actually here a few minutes ago, but because he had already booked an appointment in Nairobi and he was just about to miss his flight, he requested for permission that he attend that particular very important engagement that he's having. But he was here with us. It's only that the session had delayed a bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Officer. We knew of that, but we wanted it to come from members of the team so that it's recorded in the answer that he did not abscond, but actually was another commitment. So, like I said, we are here to discuss the annual development plan of the department, a document that was submitted to this assembly through the CC Finance, and it's in the procedures of processing that we meet the sectors as committees, and they get to defend what's in the annual development plan, and we tell them the gaps that we have seen in the ADP, and then we harmonize before we can report to the Committee on Budget for final report writing for adoption of this house. So up to this point, I want to give you the Chief Officer of the department to take us through the annual development plan of the department for the financial year 2024-2025. I think we can give you 15 minutes. Yeah, proceed.
Thank you so much, Chair. I appreciate the opportunity that you've given the department to come to this very important committee so that we are able to share on the plan that the department is having and is planning to undertake within the next financial year. Allow me, the chair, first to probably give a recap of the last financial year performance just in brief, and then I'll request a colleague at Thaddeus to probably also just give a brief on what we plan to have in the next financial year. If that is okay with me, I may proceed.
We agree. Proceed.
Yeah, so thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, this is the Department of Education, Technical Training, Innovation, and Social Services, which is composed of two directorates. One is the ECD, and the other directorate is for the Technical Training, Innovation, and Social Services. The chair, let me say that, let me bring to your attention that during the financial year 2023-2024, the department had a budgetary allocation of 991,759,231 Kenya shillings in the approved budget estimate. The budget was broadly split into various elements where the salaries or personal emolument constitute of 459,829,762 Kenya shillings. And that was actually entirely spent. We also had 205 million Kenya shillings. That was for the Kisumu County Education Fund. And we also had 54 million 98,188 Kenya shillings for operations and maintenance. And we also had 200 million 832,282 Kenya shillings that was set for the development expenditure. For the record of this particular engagement, the department completed successfully 41 development projects and programs. These include 32 ECDE classrooms, 4 vocational center facilities. We had 5 social halls, and part of these were also on the capitation to the vocational training centers and also learning materials to the ECDE. Further, this is now basically a breakdown on the Kisumu County Education Fund. We had, we supported actually under secondary education scholarship 1,400 students and 32,000 students for bursary students that was drawn from the 35 wards. At the tertiary level, we had 1,700 that was supported at the vocational training centers and 4,400 students in college and university through this program. And therefore, again, for the purposes of information, the enrollment and the VTCs at the end of that financial review, or financial year under review, we had 6,035 trainees, which is actually a significant improvement compared to 5,456 trainees in the previous financial year. And this is actually a good indicator. The department also spearheaded policy development in various fronts, including the TVET Act. We also had the ECD Act. There's also enhanced collaboration with partners and institutional quality audits, capacity building, governance, and management strengthening that also happened. In that financial year, there were challenges that is worth noting because it's through the learning process that we are able to make service provision and implementation of the projects better. One of the challenges that the department actually realized was the late disbursement of funds from the exchequer, causing delay in execution of programs, and this majorly affected the Kisumu County Education Fund program. We also had contractors, contracted suppliers who had pending bills in the previous financial years that were actually given the jobs, of course, after doing or conducting the due diligence, and we were able to verify that they have the capacity. But upon signing the contract, they were demanding that they be paid the pending bills that they were being actually owed by the county government for them to go to site, and this actually paralyzed the project implementation within the department. Another challenge is that most of the projects were actually under budgeted for against the scope of work. For example, the completion of the ECD or the construction, you realize that the scope of work against what is budgeted for became a problem, and this actually led to most of the contractors shying away from taking these tenders or these projects. And even those that probably went ahead to sign a contract with us, not implementing them. Another challenge, the chair, is inadequate staffing that we are experiencing within the department, right from social worker staff to the trainers in the VTCs to the teachers within the ECD facilities, where we have ECD facilities in a number of the ECD centers without the ECD teachers. Another challenge is inadequate modern workshops, tools and equipment for market-driven skills training. This is a big gap because we have actually demand for students or the trainees who want to take up the opportunity that we have within the vocational centers, training centers. But because of the unlimited infrastructure and the right tools and equipment and the machineries, we are unable to actually undertake proper training. And you realize that at the end of it, there is a mismatch between the skills acquired and the skills required. So we need to actually work on that together. Then there's inadequate ACD infrastructure to support conducive learning environment for children in early years of education. Most of our primary schools, we do not have the ECD infrastructure, including the classrooms. And this actually is hindering the performance of the department. And these are areas of major concerns within the department. So within the department, looking at the sector priority areas within the financial year 2025-2026, we have the sector priorities and the sector interventions or the strategies. One of the sector priority areas is to improve the access to quality ECD services in the county. And these, in terms of the intervention, we are looking at recruitment of the teachers, ECD teachers, and quality assurance and standard officers, so that we have not only students, but we also have trainers who are competent and who are able to undertake the necessary trainings to our children. Remember that the 90% of the development of a brain takes place at the age of 5. So when we miss it at that early development stage, we miss a whole generation. So it's important that we focus in investing in ECD, and any focused government who is focused in the future must invest on the children. So another intervention is to construct ECD infrastructure. We have provision of sustainable feeding program. We have provision of learning materials. There's development and operationalization of the County ECD Policy Act and the regulation. Remember, we want not only to develop these policies, but to operationalize them. This include even budgetary allocation towards them, but also looking at areas of collaboration and partnership with other partners. Then we have establishment of county education information management system. We also have improved access to quality vocational education and training in the county as a priority. And we also have the sector interventions, which include the recruitment of the VTC trainers. We have continuous constructions of the VCT infrastructure, including the workshops and so on and so forth. So those are some of the intervention areas that we have in this financial year, no, in the next financial year, 2025-2026. As a department, in formulation of the ADP, we actually borrowed a lot from the public participation that actually was undertaken, and most of the projects that we have captured are as a result of the aspirations of the public that we serve. So that is where most of the projects are actually generated from. So I'll request Thaddeus probably to just take us brief on that, because I know there could be elaborate projects that we have aligned, but just in a nutshell, so that we have a clear understanding on what we project to be undertaking in the next financial year. Because I know if you're talking about ECDs, we could be having many of them. So it's just a matter of just highlighting that we have ECDs projects that we need to actually implement, the same as VTC and other programs. Thank you.
Yes, Thaddeus.
Thank you so much, Bwana Chair. I want to say that the Department of Education actually has projects and even programs that are actually repetitive in nature. One is the feeding program. It is always repetitive. We have a provision of learning materials, repetitive. Only the amounts may vary. Okay. I want to say that our programs and projects are repetitive. We have the feeding program, which comes every year. We have development projects, which come every year. We have learning materials, which also come every year. We have the development projects, I think I've said that. Those ones, most of them come every year. So for this current financial year, 24-25, we have an array of 59 projects, 47 from the ECD, and the remaining ones are for the other directorates. Now, as usual, the feeding program is there, and it will consume, this financial year, it will consume 25 million, I think, feeding program. Then we have learning materials, which will also consume 20 million. And then the development projects, we also have the development projects. I'm not sure of the amount that they will consume this financial year. Now, the coming financial year, which is 24-25, well, I have it here. For all the projects that we have, the 59 of them, it will be a total of 213,716,000. That will be the total. That includes the projects and even the programs. That 213,716,000. So that is so far what we have for this financial year. Now, for the next financial year, which is 25-26, we still have a proposal. And the proposal we have are many projects. I don't know whether to go through them one by one up to the end. Well, we have the development projects. We have completion of Kirindo in Seme. That is 2 million. In fact, most of them are 2 million. We have completion of Ochol. That is also in Seme, 2 million. Third, we have construction of modern toilet at Keo Kodo in Seme. That is also 1 million. But before I proceed, sir, I want to say that these ones were extracted from the public participation. That is the basis of all this. Public participation is the source of this. And next to that is that we were really trying to balance them in such a way that at least a ward gets an ECD. That has always been our attempt for the sake of balancing and fairness.
financial year?
When we talk of completion, it means there were projects that were started sometimes back, but were left at various points. Most of them were left at the lintel.
Because that should really come out clear in our discussion, so that we know completion of this ECD, which is stalled in this particular financial year, so that we plan for all of them. Because I would prefer that we focus on all our stalled projects in the ADP, so that when the budget estimates are being made, then we focus on the projects that we started and did not complete. And as we proceed, I just want to give guidance. Again, we have projects that we have put in the budget estimates of this financial year. But you're foreseeing a situation where we are not sure if we are going to complete them. We need to also factor that in the ADP, so that when we'll be making the estimates, it will cover both the projects we didn't complete in the previous financial years. We have the projects that we are not foreseeing completing because we have multi-year projects that we are doing in phases, and we all factor them in the financial year. So up to that point, proceed. Thaddeus.
Thank you so much. I can partly respond to that concern. It is really true that we really need to deal with the completion of projects. In fact, that is the agenda that we have in as far as projects are concerned at the department. Even in our proposal for the current ADP, that is what was their completion. They were supposed to be all completion cases. But you know, as the document went ahead, it came back with totally different projects that we have now, the 59. So I can move on. So some are actually beyond our control. Now, number 4, we have completion of Lieye. Lieye is in Central Seme. Then we have completion of Oluti, which is in East Seme, that is 2 million. Then we have construction of a new ECD at Awanya, that is also 2 million. Then provision of chairs and tables for North Seme schools, that is, we have 0.6,600,000. Construction of ECD at St. Joachim ECD Center, that is also in North Seme, 2 million. We have construction of ECD Center at Nyaware, that is, I've now left Seme. Remember, those are 8 for the 4 wards. Then construction of ECD at Nyaware, that is in Kisumu West, that will also be 2 million. Or proposal. Construction of ECD at Nyanginja, also 2 million, that is in Southwest Ward, Kisumu West. Then Kirembe ECD, 2 million. Ngege ECD, also 2 million. Orinde, 2 million. That is in North Kisumu Ward. Then Dago Kokore ECD, also 2 million. Maseno Mixed, 2 million. Odowa, 2 million. Arude, 2 million. Kawinja, Kisumu West Ward, 2 million. Kawino ECD. Then Olikoliero now in Miwani. That is also 2 million. Kodhiambo, ECD Center at Kodhiambo in Miwani, also ward, that is 2 million. Ombei ECD, 2 million. Kigoche in Ombei, 2 million. At Waware, ECD at Waware, 2 million. Mekiria, 2 million. Equipping of again ECD in Chemelil, also 2.5 million. Tamu, ECD at Tamu Central, that is 2 million. ECD at Bishop Okoth Primary, 2 million, also in Muhoroni. Oboch ECD, that is now Southwest Nyakach, 2 million. Bur Kamach, 2 million, that is still Southwest Nyakach. Then we have Kanyalwali North Nyakach, 2 million. Kowire, 2 million. Ragen, 2 million. Bugo, 2 million. Paplesana, 2 million. Oriang, 2 million. Bala ECD, 2 million. Keyo, 2 million. Njora, 2 million, those are ECDs. Anyang'oro, 2 million, that is now Nyando, Nowawidi. Warado, 2 million. Kamunda Primary, Kamunda ECD, 2 million. Highway RC, 2 million. Bunde, 2 million. ECD at Kagimba, 2 million.
Yes, what is it, Honorable?
Would request we get the copy through our clerk so that we
The listings of those ECDs are not in the ADP that was brought before the Assembly. Unless we are wrong.
The proposed ADP 2526.
Chief Officer, we are not here to discuss your proposals to the Cabinet. We are here to discuss what was approved in the Cabinet and brought to the Assembly. I think this is something I've always repeated. We are not discussing your wish list. We are discussing what was brought to the Assembly for us to adopt. So if you don't have it, just say we didn't see it, and then we start from there. Because we cannot discuss two different documents. We are discussing a document that was brought through the CC Finance to the Assembly as the ADP, tabled before this House, brought to the sectoral committees, and then we invited you to explain to us so that we can talk to other members who are not members of this committee to help us adopt it the way it is, change it, whatever you want to do with it. So it's like the person you gave the responsibility is discussing his document from the observation of members. Do you agree?
Yeah, Chair. In most cases, what normally happens is, as a department or as departments, we come up with our draft ADP. That is for the financial year that we are focused on. And then we are able to share it with the county treasury where they consolidate. They take the same document to the cabinet for discussion before they share with the assembly. So according to me, I am convinced, unless otherwise, that the document that was being read by my colleague is the same document that you're having, because I don't see a scenario where there could be certain alteration in between, especially when the document is actually coming from a department to county treasury to the cabinet and finally to the assembly.
It's not. We are informing you that the document we are having does not have the listings of the ECDs that it's talking about. So it's not. So we can only discuss the document that was brought before us.
Okay. So the directors, do you have the document that was finally transmitted to the assembly? Anyone having it?
Because that's why we usually prefer that the CEC be here. That's why it goes to the cabinet. Once they are done with that document, once it's ratified, once it's being sent to the assembly, order Thaddeus, resume your seat. Once that document is being brought to the assembly, Waziri should take his copy and take to the department. That this is the final document we've agreed with as a cabinet to be taken to the assembly. With all those changes, you take responsibility. You come here, you first agree with what was brought before us, and then after that you tell us, even though this is what was brought, but these were our proposals. And then we see how to now balance that. If it makes sense to us, now it's our opportunity to talk to other members so that we include what we felt was left out. But if all of you are agreeing, because I've seen so many people nodding that they've never seen that document, then I don't know what we are going to discuss. But I want to get the view of members over the same.
Chair, can I?
Oh, Chief has something he wants to say?
Yeah, I think I've gotten access to the document. And if you allow me, let me take you through, especially on the development list of the development projects. And as Thaddeus had actually indicated earlier, is that we have other programs and projects that are repeated, like what he talked about, the feeding program, the learning materials, the capitation to the VTCs, and also the Kisumu County Education Fund. So under the development, we have a budget of 213,716,000. Maybe you can confirm if that is true, so that we are in the same page, Chair. So the first project is under West Seme, and that is the construction of Mayeka ECD. We have completion of Mirieri ECD, Central Seme. We have completion of Otenga ECD, Central Seme. Completion of Okuto ECD, West Seme. Construction of Maembe Kodero ECD, West Kisumu. Construction of ECD at Esivalu, Northwest Kisumu. Completion of Yatrateng, North Kisumu. Construction of ECD class at DC Primary, and that is in Ahero Ward. Construction of toilet at Angola ECD, Kabonyo Kanyagwal. We have construction of 2 classrooms at Luora Ayueo, East Kanawawidi. Completion of Kisure ECD classroom, Miwani. Completion of Nyalenya ECD in Masogo Nyangoma ward. Completion of Kamrika ECD, the same ward, Masogo Nyangoma. Completion of Wok ECD, that is in Chemelil. Construction of Ngege ECD, Southeast Nyakach. Construction of Body ECD, Southeast Nyakach. Construction of ECD classroom at St. Mark, Nyalenda A. Construction of Ongadi ECD in Kajulu Ward. We also have rehabilitation of Shauri Moyo standalone 3 ECD classroom and a hall, Kaloleni, Shauri Moyo. We have fencing of Arena ECD Center, and that is Kaloleni, Shauri Moyo Ward. Completion of Obonga ECD, Railways Ward. Construction of ECD classroom at Mbogra, West Nyakach. Construction of ECD toilet at Kibuye Mixed, Market Milimani. Construction of ECD toilet at Kosao Primary, that is in Kondele Ward. Construction of Sangoro Primary ECD, West Nyakach. We have construction of Sabako ECD classroom, Southwest Kisumu. Construction of ECD at Sembembe Primary School in Southwest. Fencing and gating of Kianja ECD in Kajulu Ward. Completion of Sidika ECD, North Kisumu. Completion of Sunga ECD, Northwest Kisumu. Completion of Sianda ECD, West Kisumu Ward. We have construction of ECD at Ochara, West Seme. We have completion of Magwaka ECD, West Seme Ward. Completion of ECD at Kajulu, East Seme Ward. Construction of Lunga ECD, East Seme Ward. Construction of Atoyo ECD, North Seme. Completion of Ami ECD, North Seme. Construction of Okode ECD, Central Seme Ward. Completion of ECD at Nanga, East Seme. Construction of ablution block at Kudo ECD, Railways Ward. Construction of ECD toilet at Lake Primary, Market Milimani. Construction of Olembo Primary ECD, Central Nyakach. Construction of Kowili Primary ECD, Central Nyakach Ward. Construction of Nyabula Primary ECD, Central Nyakach. And then we have equipping of Papotany VTC, that is Central Seme. Construction of a twin workshop at Papotany VTC, Central Seme. construction of a toilet at Obuolo, Kajulu Ward. And then we have rehabilitation of the county library, Market Milimani, construction of Nyakongo Social Hall in Northwest Kisumu. We have construction of Fodo toilet at Kanyagoro Social Hall, that is Kanawawidi. We have stone fencing of Capitol Hall, Nyalenda A, fencing and getting of Nyakongo Social Hall. Northwest Kisumu, completion of Kanyakwar Hall, Nyalenda A. And then lastly, construction of ECD toilet. No, that one is not in the list. So thank you so much. There are those particular items.
Thank you so much, Chief Officer. I want to bring to your attention some of the, in addition to what you've said, maybe so that we move very fast. In your plans for the next ADP, you are planning to construct 70 ECDs. 70. I believe whatever you have listed as 70 ECDs. I think that's where Thaddeus was trying to say that they were balancing 2 ECDs per ward. They're supposed to be 70. You have planned to have provision of sustainable school feeding program to, I think, 651 schools at 30 million. I want to take you to speed through the ADP that we are having. We are having recruitment of ECDs, and we are planning to recruit 300 in the next. We are planning annual development plan to have 300 ECDs recruited. We are having integration of digital learning in ECDs, and we need 1. We are having provision of ECD furniture to 8,000 students. No, we are giving 8,000 tables. So if you check at the list of what you have just listed, I don't know if we have 8,000 tables that we are supposed to provide anyway. These are some of the things that was brought to us that we are going to do in the next financial year. Then ECD policy. Director ECD, do we have an ECD policy? Now, we are here again saying that we need an ECD policy and we need 5 million towards the same. You see, and you are saying that we have an ECD policy. I thought we had an ECD Act and we need an ECD policy. Think about it. In our ADP, we are talking about identification and assessment of children with disability, and we want to do that to 1,000 kids. We need 10 million for the same. We have not listed where, and I think that's what you are trying to now tell us exactly. Again, in the ADP, we have talked about establishment of county information management system, like the one we have for health, so that if you want data of a child, how many teachers, how many kids, how many boys, how many girls, which schools, which grades, which years. I think it's something like that. We can have and we need 5 million towards the same. You are supposed to do monitoring of the curriculum implementation in 651 schools. And then I think we are supposed to have ECD stakeholders meeting in 651 schools. We are supposed to do advocacy. I'm not sure of what. Just talked about advocacy. Oh no, under advocacy, we are supposed to do capacity building on CBC. And now we are doing it on 698 teachers. I don't know if that is taking into consideration the teachers that we are employing. Should we do that this financial year? You remember we are employing. We are planning for 698, but we are also employing. So does that budget match? If we are to do estimates after this, will the 698 be enough to also cater for the additional that we are going to employ? Then in advocacy, we are also supposed to do bursaries and scholarship. And we are targeting 50,000 students, and we are estimating to have 400 million. And I think Japheth is here. Japheth, you have put in the ADP that we want 400 million for bursaries. We are moving from 205 to 400 for bursaries. And the biggest question we've been having in this assembly that bursary is very, very good and really needed, but it's not one of the roles. Especially a big chunk of the money that we spend on bursaries does not go to the roles that were devolved. But again, we are putting 400 million towards the same. And I think we are also changing to CBC. So I don't know how we are going to do with the scholarship. Jeffrey, think about it. I just want to mention so that we think about our ADP. ECD creative activities. I think we had one at, where was it called? Ofafa. You remember? This time we have put it in our ADP, and we are saying that we need 10 million for the 651 schools. Will that be enough? Is it too much? Is it too little? Blah, blah, blah. How do we convince people that it's really important so that they support it in the ADP, and when it comes to the estimates, they see sense on why we need to have creative activities. On vocational education and training, the programs that we have is recruitment of VTC trainers, and you are proposing 50, and at 5 million. You know, she's even, Pascalia is really surprised. She's like, that's in the ADP, 5 million. Who came up with that? That's what came to us. Under VTC, we are having in our ADP development of VTC infrastructure, and you are proposing, I think you are going to work at 10 ECDs for 130 million. So should we get money, we are saying that we'll identify 10 VTCs, invest 130 million on them, on their infrastructure. Then they're also talking about fish ponds for our VTCs, and they want to do 6 at 45 million, I believe. No, 4.5 million. Did you have a proposal like that from the VTC Directorate that we do fish ponds in our VTCs? Are you sure? Which VTCs were you looking at? Tobacco, next one. Maybe just to get it from you, a quick one on this one. Which ones were you suggesting? Because they are mentioning 6, that we are going to do 6 fish ponds in our VTCs.
Mr. Chair, we were proposing fish ponds in 6 vocational training centers. One was Sabako, another one was Kigoche, Ahero, Obange, and others.
Now that's where you are supposed to come here, just to bring to the attention of members. You should have that in your fingertips, so that when we ask you about, now which are the 6 VTCs that we are going to do these fingertips? You mention.
Yes, there is Sabako, there is Kigoche, Ahero, Obange, Chua, and was it Mari? There is a 6th one, I'm not very sure. Which one was it?
Let me proceed. So before.
Chair, a point of mind, for what purpose? Why do you need fish ponds in our VTCs?
We want to introduce, we usually do agribusiness, Mr. Chair, and we wanted to bring in blue economy So that is why we want to do fish ponds. We introduce fishing. We start rearing fingerlings and all that. It's about blue economy, sir.
Chair,
Member?
are they balanced through the sub-counties or is it from one sub-county?
They are balanced across sub-counties, but we're also looking at the availability of space, Mr. Chair.
Allow me, what is it on the book?
Chair, we sound too ambitious in terms of maybe we want to be seen to be doing something. We have a lot of challenges in our big cities. One of them is inadequate teaching staff. Why don't we prioritize on issues which are pressing instead of going for fishing and such kind of thing? Which discipline do we have in schools, in technical colleges to justify that? Why don't we take this money to support our support staff within the system? Why don't we prioritize?
Thank you, honourable members. Just to assist, we are prioritizing already. Remember, our money is not limited to what we appropriate in this assembly. We can have donors. Maybe that's what I expected. We can have donors who are interested in doing fish ponds in our VTCs. If we don't have that in our annual development plan, it will be hard for us to tell them to assist us towards the same. So everything we want to do for a particular financial year must appear in the annual development plan. Those that we can finance and those that we expect finances to come from other donors, they must appear in the VTC, in the annual development plan. After that, when we are making estimates, we shall have now known which ones are taken by donors, which ones we have to appropriate for. And during that time, we can reprioritize and decide, yes, we had planned to do fish ponds, but because we don't have enough money and there's nobody who is helping us, we are only going to employ VTC teachers. Because we have planned here, they had a plan of employing 50 vocational training center, what do they call them? Trainers and quality assurance standard officers. We have it here. So
do we need to sound disparate? This is the most organized department so far. We should sound organized.
Allow me to go through what they brought for us, and then we can question them based on that. Other members under the same directorate, they want to have formulation of legal and regulatory frameworks, and that is County Vector 2023 and vet policy. And I didn't know exactly what we meant because I believe that was, we have a vet act. Do we have a policy? And we still need some 3 million.
Regulations, Mr. Chair, they are not complete. And also we need to disseminate the same. The vet policy, the act, and also the regulations. We need to sensitize with.
No, I'm just talking about now, because they've written formulation of legal regulatory frameworks. No sensitization. And they've talked about County Vet Act 2023, Vet Policy June 2024, and 2 regulations. And they need 5 million. But let me proceed. I hope you're getting me and the questions that is coming to our heads. Development of TVET information management system, 5 million. Then you have capacity building. I don't know of who. And there are 20 at 60 million.
Mr. Chair, we usually capacity build center managers, BOG chairs, and BOG members.
How many? Of which places?
28 vocational training centers. We usually do for all of them.
But this one is planned at 20. The people you have mentioned are more than 20. You have planned.
Maybe 20 sessions.
It's written meeting trainings held. Number of meetings held, 20.
20. Those are 20 sessions, not participants.
Thank you. And 60 million. Let's proceed. Transfer of VTCs, I think this is capitation, and 28 VTCs, and you want 100 million. Then we have social infrastructure development, and 10 social laws. I think this now the social services department, and they are talking about refurbishment of 10 social halls and 2 libraries. I think that's another department altogether.
It is still under me.
So which are these 2 libraries?
Mr. Chair, we have the main library and Koru.
Koru Library.
Yes.
Thank you. Members, I hope you are listening. Those are 2 libraries, and you want to refurbish them with 90 million. And which are these social halls? Which are these social halls? The social halls, director, social halls, the 10 social halls.
The 10 social halls. Amos is trying to get the list, but I remember 4. There is fencing of Ocean. That is in Nyakach. Oh, they are here. There is Puma Resource Center. That is West Kisumu.
How much?
3 million. And we are erecting a perimeter fence and furnishing of the hall with furniture and seats. We also have Bright Light Social Hall in Central Kisumu. The same, erecting perimeter wall, furnishing the hall with furniture and seats. We have Kitimikai.
At how much?
3 million. Then we have Kitimikai. We are also furnishing the hall and a solar backup, that is 2 million. We have a HERO PWD Empowerment Center. We are also furnishing and also solar power backup, that is 2 million. Kasawino Social Hall in Manyata B, furnishing and also solar backup, that is 2 million. We have Kanyakwar Community Hall in Nyalenda A. We are constructing a septic pit. And introducing a biodigester system at 2 million. We have Sian, the one I said from Southeast Nyakach. Here we are constructing a disability-friendly toilet and a biodigester system to be introduced at 2 million. Yeah, then we have the 2 libraries. That is the main library we are reviving. It is very dilapidated. We are upgrading the library security system, and we are also looking at solar power backup, and we are talking about 20 million. Then we have Koru Library, renovations, that is repairs, maintenance. Those are libraries we inherited from KNLS in very bad shape. We also want to do tree planting there. Yeah. The core one is 4 million.
Let me ask. Yeah. Let me ask a question. Thank you, Director. I am interested in that one for Koru. Koru in which place? Which place in Koru? The location?
Mr. Chair, it is in Roberto Uko, just next to his residence, as where the...
Oh, I know.
It's your place. Me, I can only direct you.
Thank you. We are trying to add all the figures that you've given us.
Yes.
And we are comparing with what's on our ADP. And it's not summing up to 90 million. food for thought for you. It's not summing up to 90 million because sometimes ADP scares budget estimates and they decide just to take things because they think we can't reach. So whatever you are having and whatever is here is different and we don't know which one is true now. Let me move fast because members want to go for training. Yes. And innovation. Under innovation, they want to establish innovation hubs in hubs and centers. And this they're going to do in our VTCs and TVETs. And they're planning to do 7. I don't know which department that falls in. No, nobody knows. But they have county staff capacity building programs. And number of capacity, and you are planning to do 50 capacity building programs at 10 million. Can somebody explain that? 50 capacity building programs for county staff.
Mr. Chair, it is still under me.
Yes.
Innovation.
Proceed.
And this is a new venture in our department. So we feel or we want to have capacity building so that we can all be conversant with what it entails. Because there are so many perspectives when it comes to innovation. So we want to kind of get sensitized and get to know what it is all about. That is why we are looking for a lot of capacity building funds, so that the staff, the department can now get very conversant with the same.
Yes, the department does not know about innovation.
We know the way you know. I know you also know innovation, but it might not be that one you are talking about.
Which one is this so that members can support? Members, the department wants that in the next annual development plan, we put priority on capacity building of staff at 10 million.
Yes.
So that when the estimates come, we can budget for them 10 million for capacity building on innovation programs. Yes.
It is upon her to convince us. Kindly convince us.
That's why
I want to stand because I want to convince you. We are having so many technologies which are coming in as we speak. And at the county, it is only Department of Education which is handling education matters, and especially vocational training centers, where we are having so many skills being developed, where we can get these innovations. So, Mheshimiwa, order. So,
Director, you are not allowed to call other members to order. It's only the chair and fellow members that can call them to order.
From him.
Order, honorable member.
Yes, thank you.
You are protected now. Proceed.
So, Mr. Chair, when you look at our skills, the ones we are developing in our institutions, they need a lot of advancement. For example, when you visit those VTCs at your place there, you'll find there are so many ideas, especially when it comes to solar, when it comes to building, especially those people in flood-affected areas. And there are so many technologies we are getting from outside the country. Like Play International was giving us a new technology. I know Mheshimiwa is aware. So those are the things we want to do capacity building for all these people who are concerned. We are talking about the trainers who train in these specific trades so that they can bring that. Apart from that, we are the ones in charge of what we call handcraft. We are now introducing handcraft in our department. When we talk about handcraft, we are talking about Those ones who go to Mbondo, towards Akala, you see those things they display there. Those are the things we want now to build on those people. We want to tap those skills. We want to go to the lake. When you look at those boats, who makes them? They are those old people. Assume they die, all of them today. How do we tap that skill? So we want to go there, get these old people, train us, and we introduce even to our vocational training centers. Those are the innovations, Mr. Chair, which I'm standing here, convince the members
Let me
about.
see if I really got you. That you want us to take our staff to blacksmiths and who are those people who deal with leather, the tanneries, what are they called? That we take them there, then those people train them, then they retain this information. Am I getting used that we take staff to blacksmiths and those kind of people, and then they retain that information? Why not students? Let me get from Chief Officer wants to say something before I go to the next one. But you can see the way we are struggling with the ADP and how to convince members. Yes.
Chair, I did want to speak at this point, but I've been probably propelled to speak because there are also a number of issues that you addressed in the past that we have not also responded to. But basically, if you look at that particular sub-program and look at the key outputs, we are not only talking about capacity building, but we are talking about training. We are talking about training. We are talking about incubation. We are talking about mentorship. And we are talking about community awareness activities. So it is not just a capacity building as per se, but the components of the sub-program that are very, very key and very important. Mr. Chair, I want to bring to your attention that when you're doing what we call an incubation program, it is a process, and in most cases, you need these trainers in a particular kind of environment where you need professionals to take them through the kind of training that is very aligned to the current innovation that we need. But again, when you're talking about community sensitization here, we have so many innovations and innovators, especially even outside the TVET facilities that we have. And these particular innovations, we also want to create an environment where we can actually unearth them and be able to support them and ensure that they get not only the financial support, but they are also, we are able to link them with the capital ventures and investors so that they are able to probably...
Order, Chief Officer. Order. Just resume your seat. You're getting off what we are discussing. We have a program here which is County Staff Capacity Building Program. What we are discussing is County Staff Capacity Building Program. We are capacity building county staff. And we are capacity building them on youth innovation programs. That's training, incubation, mentorship, and community awareness. And we are trying to convince members that it's important to have this in our ADP so that we put money on it so that our staff can be capacity built. What you are saying is now different from what she's saying. You are talking of current, she's talking of blacksmiths. I believe blacksmiths are not current. She said that those people who are making boats and those who are making rapur, what is it called? Yes, art and crafts, those all that thing is dying. So can we restrict so that we move faster?
Yeah, Chair, we are just trying to give you the bigger picture of this capacity building. Of course, in addition to what she actually said, I'm not saying, we are not watering down what she said, but I'm giving you the other side so that you look at it in a bigger element, in a bigger picture. not only in terms of that small component of capacity building?
We had passed all those ones. I'm now in the staff capacity building. I was going on each and every item that's in the ADP.
Okay, Chair.
Yes.
Thank you.
So allow me to request you to resume your seat. But you see the struggles that we're having. You are also struggling on how to convince. Now you will understand. Now, on community awareness activities and stakeholder, I don't know what it was meant to be, and stakeholder, which is a county-wide community outreach programs, and the number of women and youth in sub-counties, and supposed to be 1,020 million. That section I didn't understand at all in the ADP. This is what's written, community awareness, activities, and stakeholder. And then the next is county-wide community outreach programs. I think that's what it's, part 2, it's supposed to be key output. Then key performance is the number of women and youths in sub-counties. And then baseline is 200 and target is 1,000. That I didn't understand, Chief Officer. Something that we can relook at, maybe explain, or we delete it from our ADP. If it's making sense to anybody, maybe you can explain to the honorable members. Yes. Yes, yes, Honorable Uku.
Chair, yeah, this is their document. And we want to give them benefit of doubt that before they explain, we can't just delete it. Kindly please allow them to explain so that we understand. Maybe it is very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why I said maybe if anybody wants to explain what that section intended.
Chair, allow me to bring to the attention of the honorable members that this could be erroneous and we probably need to reconsider it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Officer. Under youth innovation programs, training activities, and the key output is women, youth from all 7 sub-counties interested given opportunity to benefit from the training programs, innovation and exhibition weeks. And then the key performance number of women and youths reached in all the 7 sub-counties. And then the target is 1,000 with a baseline of 200 at 20 million. Then they also want to organize a county innovation and exhibition week at 5 million. Yeah. You guys are getting, you get what came to us. Director, I know you'll respond. I just want to go through it because so that we finish and you see the struggles we have in understanding. Then cross-sectoral impacts, one that cuts across all the sectors in the department. One is under early childhood education, development and education. There is there are a raft of things there that I didn't really get, Chief Officer. That we have a cross-cutting sectoral impact with other departments, adverse impact, and then measures to harness the synergy. I don't know why it was put there, if you have the document. That is what came to us as ADP. I know Japeth wanted to hear about bursaries. It's there, proposed at 400 million. Director ECD wanted to see construction of ECD. So if you look at those things, the fencing that we talked about, I don't know if it's under construction because we plan to construct 70 ECDs only. We've not planned to do any fencing or any toilet in our ADP. And yet you have them in our development proposals. So we are not matching those lists with what we have in our ADP. I don't know if you're getting me, Chief Officer. Yeah. Those are one of the challenges. Those are one of the glaring challenges that we will all realize. Our documents are not matching. The projects we propose and what we have in our ADP do not match. So we need to change that so that we have all projects. If it's about toilets, it needs to appear here. It's fencing, it needs to appear here before we list them. If it doesn't appear here, then somebody can ask us, where did we come with toilet construction, and yet it was not in our ADP for this financial year. Yes, honorable members, any more comments before I give Chief Officer?
Chair, mine is, I think it's AOB.
Before we go to the AOB, before we go to the AOB, honorable member, I know our AOBs are important to you. But I've seen the honorable Henrietta wants to say something.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. So I just had a statement from the Chief Officer about the equipment that the VCT students are using. And he said, if I'm not wrong, that they are old and they are not serving the students as at now. So in everything that we are discussing, I think this is the most important thing. Because how do you educate these young men and women, and you know very well that the equipment you are using today is not going to serve them after school? Thank you.
Then, Chair, now on point.
You want to go to the OB?
No, not the OB now.
Okay, proceed.
Chair, Chair, from the document that we have from the department, it is warning that like all of them is capacity building is leading. We have 60 million, I don't know what. We have another 10 million, another 105 million. Chair, priorities.
Thank you. I hope, Chief, you are noting them down. Interestingly enough, even provision of learning materials, which is recurring in our expenditures, does not appear in our annual development plan. So all the recurring expenditure that you are talking about, bursary, feeding program, learning materials, we need to plan for them every year. If we don't plan for them, unless Chief Officer, you are seeing it in the document, I'm trying to look for it, I can't find any learning materials as part of the plan. Provision of learning materials, both in our VTCs and our ECDs. Yes, the Honorable Ojem.
Yes, Chair, that begs the question, because you see, when developing such a document, we have public participation, which was done by the executive. So I'm just wondering loud if they captured even the emotions of the public or the wants of the public when they come here with this document. This is too biased towards what they want to do vis-a-vis what the public wants them to do. We are public servants, both them and us, we are public servants. So the essence of public participation really calls for the public to put input in all this, but you can see the division. Thank you.
Yes, the Honorable Uko, as we finish.
Chair, I don't know the effect of deleted item on the total cost of the ADP in terms of amount and something like that. If it really affects the total cost, then we should not treat it as an error. Secondly, our focus is not on the students. Our focus on the pupils. We should focus more resources on the pupil than those who had already acquired knowledge in the expense of the pupils and the students. Third, we have capacity building, capacity building, capacity building. Even if you want something from somebody, you can't ask it in a different way, but it's the same thing. It is better you put it as one so that you see how to plan yourself within the budget, but not trying to put it on the teacher, on the center managers, on the BOG. And again, you are coming back to the staff at the county to do the same thing. Why don't you put it as one so that you can convince that it is a component which is actually covering everybody? That is very clear. Otherwise, today, Mr. Chairman, I've always known our Department for Education to be a very organized department and the most organized so far. But today, I must admit that you have disappointed us. Kindly please go back and do the best thing.
Yes, the Honorable Benny Pete Oiko.
Yeah, when the chief officer was on his recap about the last financial year, that is on bursary, I wanted to know if the bursary for colleges and universities has been paid. And another one, they have increased the figure from 205 to 410 million. Ahead of such a figure, what is the intention of on that increase? Another matter, Mr. Chair, there used to be the driving school issue, which was stopped. And Chair, this is something that should be brought back for our youth. The driving school. Let the department tell us what they are thinking about it. Because some of us think it's high time it is brought back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Oiko. I know we'll touch in the passing. Chief Officer, you let us know if bursaries have been paid for high school students. In addition to all those, we need to have a strategy for construction of our ECDs. We were borrowing from other counties that are using capitation for construction of ECD classrooms. And we believe that will minimize the cost of constructing classrooms and also empower so many people across our wards. So we want a policy on capitation for construction of ECD classrooms. So among the plans that we need to have in this is a policy for construction of ECDs through capitation. So borrow with, I think Honorable Jem, I want to give you opportunity to explain that further.
Thank you, Chair. I think the department is aware that the way we are going from 2013 up to now, we shall never be where we want to be with the ECD centers. Right now, take an example, even my ward, we have 28 ECD centers running. We have only managed from 2013 up to 2024, we have only managed 3 out of 28. And this is replicated in most wards. And when you walk around, most of the ECDs are stalled. And we don't even know when they will be finished. We have appropriated money, and you find that even this appropriation that we did for 24-25, most of our MCS, most of my colleagues didn't put money in ACD because of the problem we've been having. And this begs a question that we cannot do the same thing forever and we will not achieve. We can borrow from other counties. If you go to Kwale, you go to Kiambu, and recently Homa Bay, what they are doing, this county is our policy that requires the county government to appropriate money to ECD centers, which has a board, has a center manager, and they can manage it on their own to build their own classroom at a cost of $1 million or thereabout. We appropriate here 2 million for ECD centers, which are never done. Most of them, and if you check the list you gave us today, most of them are stalled. and even the contractors are not willing to finish them up with the 2 million. So at a cost of 1 million, if we can have a policy to appropriate these funds, that the same way CDF does to the primary and secondary schools. Chair, the CDF gives money to school. They have a committee. They open a bank account, which is different from the school's bank account, and they spend money as such and to build those classrooms. The same way as a county government, at that very minimal cost, we are able. Because this will be simply, after the center manager gets money, they are able to sit down with the contractor, which they can source locally, and even buy the materials for them, and make them do the work from start to end with the money in the school's account, in the center account. And I think doing this we can achieve. Homa Bay, this financial year that ended 30th June this year, they managed to do 160, 4 per ward. You know, they have 40 wards and they did 4 times 40. They did 160 at a cost of 1 million per each unit. And I think, Chair, this is the only way and the only sure way we shall have managed all our ECDs to be modern. Otherwise, for a span of devolution years, we have not made any progress. That is, I don't think even there is a ward which can have more than a half of its ECD centers now put in a modern way. So that is the essence of that policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. So, Director ECD, through the Chief Officer, please make sure we have a policy on constructing ECDs through capitation. So start borrowing from other counties and see how we can develop that policy. Up to that point, Chief Officer, I want to give you to respond to what you can. What you can't, you have time. You can always write back to us so that we, by the time we are going to the Budget Committee, we have all the answers to your explanation on the ADP. Proceed now.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just request that I'll take a few minutes. I'll try as much as possible to respond to the few areas of concerns. But I also request that you give me an opportunity to give my directors also a few minutes to also respond where they can, so that we are at par, especially for the purpose of this deliberation that we're having. Chair, within the ADP, we had proposed the recruitment of ECD teachers and the TVET trainers. Based on the staff establishment that we have, you realize that we have an inadequacy of over 1,000 ECD teachers. And similarly, we have inadequacy within the TVET. And the proposed number that is there is just to probably, so that we are able to spread within also other financial years and be able to absorb these ECD teachers. Some of the ECD facilities does not have ECD teachers. Let me bring to the attention of this committee that the reason why we do capacity building is because we need our trainers and our teachers to continuously be updated with the current skills and the technology that are required for the purposes of dissemination of knowledge. This is even within the career progression requirement that is there. So capacity building here should not be watered down, but it's something that is very important for all of us. And remember, the hands of those children and pupils are in the hands of the trainers.
Just a little bit. Imagine we are planning recruitment of 300 ECDs at 12 million, and then planning for capacity building at, I think it was 60 million. Those figures.
I understand, Chair. That is well noted, and we are going to look into the figures. Yeah, I think those ones are areas that we can actually look at internally, and we'll be able to respond to that. There was another issue that was raised on the policy for the ECD. Yes, we do have ECD Act, and we're working on the regulation. We are are supposed to also develop a policy document, which does not exist. So that I think is important that we bring to the attention of this committee, that we need that policy document. Mr. Chair, the issue of bursary, which I think you actually raised, and Honorable Member Oiko Pete also raised, this actually, the request to actually increase the fund from 205 million to 400 million is actually driven by the demand that is on the ground. And this actually we analyze from the requests that are being made against the approval that finally we have as far as the beneficiaries are concerned. So the demand is actually huge, and I think the fund accountant will be able to elaborate that in more details. That is what informed the request for us to actually scale it up, and I think is important. The other issue that you raised, Mr. Chair, is on the ECD creative advocacy. And I want to inform this committee that this activity is actually very important for us, because we are not just looking at talent showcase, but we are looking at issues that are touching on even policy-related issues on early childhood development and education, and what are the gaps in terms of the implementation, and what are the areas we can actually improve on. So it is a very important program that we look at wholesome areas in terms of the early childhood development and education. Then there's an issue that was raised on the fish pond. Honorable members, we have a capitation that we give to the VTCs at a tune of 15,000 per student. This was supposed to be matched by the National Treasury of an equal amount of 15,000, but this is not forthcoming. So we have only 15,000 that is from the county government. Now, for us to bridge the gap, we actually trying to also encourage this learning institution to also develop what we call income generating activities. So apart from just having fish pond for learning purposes, they will also act as an income generating activity to support this institution. And this is an important component of the learning institution that we need to support, and even support the budgetary allocation for the same. So it is important that we look at that as well. I agree with Mheshimiwa in terms of rethinking on the implementation of not only ECD, but also the infrastructural development within the TVET institution, where we have to rethink about having a capitation within those institutions, and then we are able to probably do the implementation with ease. This has been actually realized and has actually seen success in so many other counties, and it's something that we cannot actually wash away. It's something that we need to consider and have it, because once we have the capitation and the fund has been transferred, then the only thing that is remaining is the implementation. And I want to bring again to the attention of this committee that these are some of the reasons why we feel that we need to take this further. You look at the ECD centers managers that we have. There's a level of education that they have, but there's also the board that is in existence. For them to probably undertake the procurement process, the awarding process, the contract signing, and to the extent of project supervision and the payment, they need to be capacity built, because they are handling money. They'll be acting like accounting officers within those facilities. The same to center managers. And otherwise, capacity building, to some extent, of course, we'll review in terms of the budgetary allocation, but it's important that we capacity build these center managers that we have within the county. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you so much. I believe that honorable members, Chief has said almost everything, but let me just let me just say something small. Okay, you've already talked about the ECD policy that you're asking, and Chief has already said that there are some policy documents that we are going to develop as an ECD department. Remember, you've talked about capitation, and I like so much what you've told us about what is happening in Homa Bay County. Kisumu County, we are also in the same direction. We are thinking of capitation, but not only on the issue of infrastructural development. We are thinking about capitation in terms of feeding program, capitation in terms of teaching learning materials, infrastructure development. When we give this money to our institution, then I think it's going to, even the county is going to save a lot. And I think we'll have as many projects as possible. And another thing is that our children will be able to have the meals throughout the year. Because at times when we do it, centrally in the office, it becomes a challenge. So when you are talking about policy, Mheshimiwa, it's not just the policy that you're talking about of the act and the regulation that is ongoing, but we have different policies that we need to tackle. And then Chief has already said about the issue of capacity building. I felt that it's important also I add some flesh on the issue of capacity building. Like in ECD sector, we are not only capacity building them on the issue of CBC. CBC is a new thing. The national government, the Ministry of Education, they've done capacity building for their teachers. So when these children are at ECD level and the teachers have not been capacity built, it becomes a challenge. And it is a discussion that has been ongoing together with our counterpart from the Ministry of Education. They say very well that they do the best from grade 1 up to the higher level. But when it comes to ECD children, you find that the teachers have not been capacity built. So these children will be half-baked. And that is why we felt that it is important for us to do capacity building, especially on essential area. One is CBC, another one is care for child development. We have our childcare facilities, whereby we cater for 0 to 3 years of age. And remember, Chief has said that the brain develops rapidly when the child is between age 0 to around 5 years of age. So we need to capacity build even these other caregivers who are taking care of these children, or teachers who are taking care of children below the age of 3 on aspect of care for child development. Another aspect is special needs education. We don't have teachers who are trained on special needs in education. So we need to capacity build them, because this is a category that is usually left behind. If these teachers do not have that knowledge, how are they going to take care of this special category? So the issue of capacity building, it's very, very important, and even we need to put more allocation on aspect of capacity building. Chief has also talked about the issue of financial management to our center managers, as we'll be going towards capitation into our institution. Remember, they don't have that knowledge of how to manage the finances and all the documentation. So they also need to be capacity built on issues of financial management. Then let me talk briefly about Creative Festival. It is very, very important. And I believe some of you attended that activity. It's not just a matter of those children going to dance and play. No, we are doing advocacy. We want people to start appreciating early childhood education. We don't just want them to look at it at that small child. We want to look at it at a broader perspective. And that is why co-curriculum, Creative Festival is important, and it's also co-curriculum activity, which is one of the activities that children are mandated to do at all levels of education. Another thing, it's child participation. As children act, allows the children to participate in activities. So we feel co-curriculum activity, which is Creative Festival, is very, very important. I believe that I've said all that I can say. Back to you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Just a quick comment. All those capacity building you've talked about, we only plan to do capacity building for CBC under ECD. So any other capacity building that you've mentioned does not appear in this document that you brought. So unless you want us to add it, let us know. We put it, we plan for it, whether it's going to be supported by a donor, but we have it here. Yes. So back to you, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, Chair, I want to request we be allowed to relook at the figures. I don't think they reflect what we put there. I want to revisit few areas which Chief has talked about. And I want to start with capacity building again when it comes to innovations. In this, there was a budget of 10 million. I know it sounded a lot. It is not a lot. In fact, when we will be relooking at the figures, we will increase the figure. Why? Because when we are talking about innovations, we are talking about new ideas, which need copyright, patenting, and all that. And this will be, of course, dealt with by Kenya Innovation Authority, and it is not little money. So we have to protect our ideas. We don't want them to get outside there and they be used by other people who didn't innovate them. In that document, we also put tools and equipment. Honorable member talked about Chief saying we are using tools and equipment which are not modern, yes, and we want to modernize our tools and equipment. And in that ADP, we put tools and equipment at a cost of 30 million. I think I didn't hear it. And if it is not there, we request we add, because it is an area which we feel is very important. Our VTCs do not have modern tools and equipment, and we want now to start equipping them to fit the modern market. Then lastly, in the legislative part, where we were talking about policies, yes, we have the VET policy, we have the VET Act, we have the regulations which we're about to finish, but we also need to come up with other, in quote, small policies like production unit policy. Chief has talked about AGS, but how are we going to manage that money? When a department starts producing and make some money, we need to come up with policies to manage those funds at that VTC level. And we feel that is also important. There is also something else which has been disturbing us, and I'm very happy with the honorable member who talked about what is happening in Kiambu, and I don't know where else he talked about. Apart from that, I don't know if you know, VTCs can do these ECDs very well, but at what ground? So we need to come up with the documentation, some policies, some frameworks, some guidelines, which are going to guide us. If a VTC comes up and does an ECD construction, what is guiding it? How is the payment going to be done? That is government to government business being done. So those are some of the things which we are thinking of doing in this budgets of ours. We are also talking about innovation hubs in our sub-counties, and how we can have that partnership work in these inter-sub-counties. So we don't want to duplicate, like same innovation in Seme, another innovation in Nyando, and it's the same. We want to at least ensure that each sub-county has a different innovation, and how we can partner to benefit from each other as sub-counties. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you. It seems the fund accountant for the bursary wants to mention something if the chief allows him.
Yes, Chair. Allow me to weigh on 3 issues only. I want to confirm to this House through the Chief that we have paid bursary for colleges and universities. If a student has not been paid, then there could be an information missing, a compliance document needed. We can only request you, Chair, that when we ask for this information from the ward committees, please help us to get them in good time so that we pay. We have no business giving this money in the bank account, and the school, the student need the money. But we want to confirm that we have paid universities and colleges. Issue number 2 is on the 400 million, Chair. The 205 million, Chair, was introduced in the financial year 1920. So counting from then to date, that is 6 years. 1920 years. So counting from then to date, that is 6 years. We feel that 6 years is enough period to justify for a request, not just a request, but a reasonable one. Statistically, Chair, this year we supported 32,000 students of bursary. If you divide that by 35, then each ward only gave us around 915 students. But that is very low. So it means the number we are serving is very low. The people we are leaving out are so many that if we get a little more money, we will be able to help them statistically. So the 400 million, Chair, is justified. And also look at it this way, Chair. Before we moved to 205 million, we were being given 100 million. So we moved like 100%. Traditionally, if we moved from 100 to 205, then we should move from 200 to 400. That's keeping with the tradition. That's my understanding. And then, Chair, finally, on driving school, we want to say the department is open to suggestion from members of this, on this house. If there's a feeling, a justification that should reintroduce driving schools, then let us come, we discuss it, and if we find the way of doing it. We are open to suggestions from members on how to run the fund and how to benefit who they should benefit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chief. Very fast, honorable member. There's a committee that's supposed to be coming here.
Chair, we have had problems with the bursary, and most of them we have been blaming the department, and it's not coming very clear that his efforts have been frustrated by the treasury. We know very clearly the money was deposited to the U account, but you are failing to disburse that. That is what we know in the house. So you have to put it very clear so that everybody understands that it is not you are making. Through the chair. I'm sorry to address you directly. Through the chair.
Yeah, Chair, thank you so much. I think we are faring on well. First, let me bring to the attention of the honorable member that when we were talking about the implementation of the last financial year programs and projects, I actually mentioned those few challenges that we also encounter, and I mentioned it specifically in reference to the bursary that we are actually giving based on the late disbursement that we have. Chair, I think most of the issues that were raised by the members and yourself have been, we have actually been able to respond to majority of them. There's something that actually we are not responded to, and I want to bring to your attention on table 4, where we have the summary department programs, and we have the ECD capitation. So under it, we have learner supported with capitation fund, and the key performance indicators, we have number of learners supported with teaching stroke learning materials. I think is there. You had indicated that is missing. It is actually captured within that document. So take note of that. Lastly, Chair, I want to say that
to the assembly?
Yes.
Okay.
It is there. Yeah. So, Chair, I want to appreciate this opportunity that you've granted to us to be here and to be able to.
Before you complete,
okay, thank you.
Allow me to. There's something that's really important to me because I know it really affects and will affect our ADP, and it comes from the Department of Procurement. Like right now, we passed our budget in June. And we are in which month? October. And we are not seeing projects rolling out. And you know, if we don't do these projects, we must plan for them again. So we just want to know why the procurement of these projects are taking so long.
Thank you, Chair. I want to report to the House that the department, through the Chief Officer, wrote to the Department of Public Works in the month of August and September, respectively, on the issuance of BQ and other projects. They were facilitated on going to the field, and as we speak, they are at their final stages of the BQ, and we expect that maybe in the coming week, the BQs will be there so that the procurement processes can start. Thank you.
Chair, you've raised a very important question, which is actually a concern to most of the departments, not only our department, because it affects the program and project implementation across board in the entire county. And I'll suggest that probably, if possible, even through this committee and through the House, if we are able to probably prevail upon maybe other departments, like example, the Department of Public Works, so that once we have relooked and discussed into this proposed ADP, then we are able to probably start generating the BQs for the programs as early as now. So on the approved budget, we could probably just take the projects that have been approved and go and implement. Actually, that will even inform in some of the budgetary allocation before the final approval. Because in most cases, we actually budget in the reverse, where we have budgetary allocation before we get the guidance from the engineers on the scope of work and the actual cost of the project. So if we are able to actually get the actual cost from the engineer's point of view, and we are getting the BQ for those projects that we have proposed in the ADP as early as now, then we, at the final stage, before we just approve the budget, we'll have the actual allocation for with the money that will actually be able to complete those projects. And with that will save us a lot of time in terms of project implementation.
Chief, I think we can start that with the Department of Education, that immediately, especially for this ADP that we are going to pass, immediately we pass it, we can work together with the Assembly to push Public Works to develop BQs for all those projects that we've listed in our ADP, so that as we do the estimates, you know, if the project is supposed to cost 10 million and you put 5 million, they will only pick 5 million worth of activities in the BQ, and that's what they allow you to procure and wait for another year of funding for the same project, so that things move faster. This idea of waiting for the estimates to be passed, then they are sent there, everybody sends, from health, trade, education, roads, everybody. And I think they have only, I don't know, 3 quantity surveyors. I mean, not quantity surveyors, but people who can do bills of quantities. So there's a problem. There's a problem that we create as a county that shouldn't be there. So run with it. Let's pass the ADP. Let's work together to ensure that our projects have BQs by the time we are done, so that the estimates are informed by the BQs that were formed on projects that were in the ADP. Thank you. Any other comment? Yes, Honorable Iko. I think they said that all the bursaries are paid. But I want to see all those lists that you had requested from the ward committee, so that I share with the members, so that they also help facilitate, so that you get the information faster. Yes, Honorable Iko.
Yes, Chair. The main problem we have on the implementation of projects is poor procurement plan in this country. And this one is a matter that should be taken seriously with the concerned Department of Public Works. What you are trying to just suggest will not help, because we are not referring to the ADP of the coming financial year. We are referring to the projects that had been approved in the budget of the running financial year. So if the matter of procurement plan is not taken seriously, we shall just be talking year in, year out. And Mr. Chair, it is intentional. The procurement officer is just talking like a government officer, but she knows the 1 week she's referring to, it will not be possible. I had gone to that department, and it is now going to 3 weeks. And I was told the next week, the next 2 weeks. You see, so unless the Public Works department is taken to task, and it is highlighted that they are bringing failure to the implementation of projects, we shall just be talking.
Thank you. Chief, I still go with your suggestion. Let's do it a different way. Let's get our ADP as a department. We send to the Department of Public Works. They develop for us the BQs early, so that when people will be going for BQs, we'll be going for procurement. Because I believe they can only procure what the BQ has allowed. And when they are still waiting, even with the procurement plan, they don't know what to go and tell people to bid for. So can't blame them so much. It's a lot of problems. Up to that point, honorable members, there's another committee that's supposed to be sitting here. And unless you want to have now final remarks, final. And if you don't, final, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This has been a very fruitful engagement, and we are going to take into consideration the areas that have been highlighted by the honorable members and refine on the document before probably it goes to the next stage. So we are keen in implementing those particular programs and also ensuring that we have service delivery to the people that we present. Otherwise, thank you so much, Chair. The only thing is that we missed water. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you, Chief Officer. You missed water because Willikista refused to do for us something there that we want to mention. So she's the cause of the problem. Final remarks from honorable members? There being no final remarks from the Vice Chair?
Thank you so much. It has been a good session. No worry about any negative comment that came. It's only meant to make the team a better team. Like my colleague said, we have been tremendously impressed in the past. Please continue impressing us. Thank you.
Thank you. Lastly, we want to really thank you for honoring the invite. Like I always say, our intention is to have good services for the people of Kisumu. And we are here to support you. And we will work in consultation to have the best. Deep inside us, we want to be the best committee. And we also want you to be the best department in this county. And that's why we put you to task to explain things so that when we start implementing, everything is clear to everyone. And we know the roadmap of where we are going. Thank you so much for all that you are doing to the people of Kisumu. And we wish you all the best. I want to request that one of you, because we prayed when we were beginning, one of you who is really touched by the Lord can finish with any other prayer other than the prayer in the standing order. Chief, you can delegate to anybody who you feel is very religious.
Let us pray. Jehovah Father Almighty, we humble before you this afternoon with a heart of gratitude and a heart of thanksgiving. We are so delighted because Jehovah, you are Yahweh, you are Ebenezer, you are Emmanuel, you are Jehovah Jireh, you are Alpha and Omega. We glorify your name, we exalt you, we uplift you, because you deserve all the praises, Jehovah Father. Father, we thank you because we've seen your Holy Spirit dwelling amongst us and guiding us, Jehovah God. We've seen your knowledge and wisdom, Jehovah God, taking charge. And we thank you, Jehovah God, for every deliberation and every discussion that we've had, Jehovah Father. I pray, Jehovah, that may you continue to guide us, that everything that we plan, Jehovah Father, may it be for the good of the people that we present and the people that we serve. May it not be upon ourselves, Jehovah God. And Father, may everything also be for your glory, Jehovah, as you rise and increase as we decrease, Jehovah Father. We thank you and we honor you, but Jehovah God, we pray that as human beings we plan, but it's you who establishes our plans, Jehovah Father. We know, God Father, that our ways are not your ways and our thoughts are not your thoughts. May our thoughts and our ways be aligned to your thoughts and your ways, that Jehovah Father, every aspect of discussion that we'll be having, even in the subsequent ones, may they be aligned, Jehovah, and may the implementation process be a success. And we honor you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.